No, I don't know how to fix a bathroom. Like a whole bathroom? Oh, a sink. I don't know how to do that either. You know, one time I tried to vacuum up water. Yeah. Steve Weiner here from GetRubix.com, and today we are going to finish the StartMigrate PS1 script, the version 2 of it. I promise. No, it didn't work. You can't do that. Okay, so quick recap of where we left off. Let's just go to the top and walk through it. So, our StartMigrate script assumes that we've correctly implemented the pre-migrate PS1 script. All of this is available in the GitHub repo. So assuming that's been implemented, we start by basically setting up our local path, setting up our logging. We put our graph authentication pieces to the source tenant, Tenant A. Of course, you need your Azure app registration to do that. We have some blob storage connectivity here, so we're going to have our storage account name and key. Last time, maybe not last time, or the time before, whatever, we talked about how to actually get the rest of the package files down from blob storage so that we don't have to store them locally in the Intune package. We could just package the one script and do it. Once we officially have our files and we start, we begin our toast notification. So we went ahead and grabbed the modules we need for that, built the toast notification out. It's going to display down here. Added some new language here. We'll update the script in GitHub for that. We get our XML values that we need for the script from the local XML file we generated in the pre-migrate script. We go ahead and set the required policy just to make sure the device can Azure AD join, Intune enroll, all that good stuff. We're going to do one last data migration check. So we're going to see if our migrate method is local. We do the local method. If it's blob storage, we go ahead and do the blob piece. And we go ahead and remove the previous Intune enrollment artifacts. So this is going to include removing the cert from the source tenant of Intune, the enrollment registry paths, and any Intune tasks that were set on the machine. Finally, what we do is we go ahead and leave Azure AD, leave the Azure AD environment, which should also unenroll from Intune. We go ahead and check if we have domain join status. This will apply to local domain or hybrid, and if it is, we go ahead and inject some credentials to unjoin that device. So we have 3 steps left. So we are going to set our post-migration tasks. Now, the nice thing about this is our package files. Here, let's scroll up here for a second. So remember, everything up here that we unpacked from blob storage. Where did it go? Okay. So our file destination path. Okay, one thing to be aware of as I'm going through here. So our next move is going to be to set the post-migration tasks. And we do this by iterating through our package files and looking for the ones that end in XML. Now, we don't have this anymore, at least the way we used to have it, because what we are doing here, I'll just bring it up here. Remember, we're invoking them from blob. So we're going to need a way to still have that array of the files we're going to be iterating through that are used in our package, at least just to keep them somewhere we can call upon them. Because here we really don't have anything other than setting them to our local paths. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a variable called package files. It's going to be an empty array. And for each blob in blobs, the file is the blob name. I'm going to add that to package files. So we actually have that name in there. So all that's going to do is allow us to iterate through the names of all those files, which is exactly what we want, because then we can go back to using the same method we did last time. So let's go ahead and create post-migration tasks from package files. So for each file in package files. Oop, one extra curly bracket. Do not need that. If the file has a match of XML, yeah, what is going on with our typing here? We're all messed up. Maybe we need a new keyboard. Time to buy something. All right, if the file has a match of XML, we're going to go ahead and grab the name of that file. So we're going to split it at the extension because we just want the name. So we want the first part, or the 0 part of the array. So that's going to give us, if it's autopilot registration.xml, we don't want the .xml, we want the autopilot registration. So now we can just do a scheduled tasks, create the task name. Create task name is just the name of the file, right? Now the XML, well, that's easy. That is the local path file. And we're going to force that. And that's going to give us our task. So we can just write that out. Created name task. So that'll give us our migrate BitLocker key XML, autopilot registration XML, middle boot XML. So it's going to create all those for us. All right, joining the new tenant. We are going to, next time I am going to look at going through the creation of the provisioning package. I know folks are struggling with that. I think some of that had to do with some changes Microsoft made on their end. It is a little wonky to begin with, but I'm going to go through those methods in detail just to make sure we're all on the same page. And if there is anything we can do to troubleshoot that, we can do that together. But for the meantime, it's going to be the same process as before. Write host, installing, provisioning, package for new Azure AD tenant, install provisioning package, package path. Package path is going to be local path migrate.ppkg. And I did get asked about this. Like, we can name this anything you want. Doesn't really matter. Install provisioning package. Did I spell that wrong? Install provisioning package. Why isn't this tabbing out? Oh well, whatever. Yeah, you can name that whatever you want. It doesn't have to be migrate.ppkg. And the last thing we're going to do is we're going to grab our XML. We're going to take those objects we have, and we're going to go ahead and set those down here so we can delete them from the previous tenant. So this is going to be, let's start by deleting the Intune object. Delete Intune object. So what we're going to do is we are going to say if Intune ID is equal to null. Yeah, PowerShell hates this, but I like it. I don't know. If you have a problem, you're supposed to put the null first, but it just doesn't make sense to me, so I ignore that. Maybe it's the wrong thing to do. Intune ID is null. Skipping object deletion. Okay, and then that's that. Else, okay, what we'll do, we'll write host, attempting to delete object. We'll put that there from, or we could just write tenant. Okay, and then here we can do a try catch. Okay, so at first we are going to do try to invoke REST method. Method is going to be delete, and the URI is, are these the same endpoint? I wonder if we can, the first part is, you know what, why don't we do that here? So why don't we call this graph endpoint. Make our lives a little easier. graph.microsoft.com/beta/device management. Okay. So what we can do, because we're going to reuse that, so here when we actually make the call, so the URI is going to be graph endpoint dash, so for Intune it's managed devices, and we're going to put that Intune ID in. Headers or headers. There we go. Perfect. We'll do a little start sleep to make sure that went through, and then we write host Intune object deleted from tenant. Cool. Now our catch there, of course, is going to be we can just do this. So we can do message equals, we'll say write host error deleting Intune ID from tenant, and we'll just pipe the message through. All right, so that takes care of the Intune object. The autopilot object is essentially going to be the same thing, just with a different different endpoint here. So we can literally just take that and paste it below. So we'll say delete autopilot object. If the autopilot ID is equal to null, then we say autopilot ID is not found, skipping option deletion, right? Hope else attempting to delete autopilot ID from tenant, graph endpoint. So this endpoint is going to be Windows autopilot device identities, and then we pass the autopilot ID through. Okay, and that's going to be the same thing. So autopilot object, autopilot ID from tenant, catch. Okay, same thing. So graph endpoint, which is graph Microsoft.com beta device management. This one's managed devices up here. This one's Windows autopilot device identities. Okay, great. Okay, last thing we do, of course, is gonna do that reboot. Just give a nice clean line there. So we shut down RT 30, and then we stop the transcripts. Finally, the new StartMigrate is finished. We got a few things coming up next. I might just take one where I go through it and we take a look at the new process, how it looks with the pre-migrate and the actual StartMigrate, or see how the toast notification works. So we'll probably get that going next time. We also have some follow-ups on the troubleshooting series. If there's anything specific you want to see, let me know in the Discord. It's here, I believe. I'm getting better at that. Am I getting better at that? Well, either way. Talk soon. Oh, whatever. That's hard to do.